You can order the brake caliper and caliper mount used in the video on CarParts.com via the link in the description. Turn off your vehicle's ignition. Set the parking brake. Pull the hood release handle and open the hood. Open the brake fluid reservoir. Loosen the stud bolts on the front wheels. In order to change your brake caliper and caliper mount on your vehicle, you will need to take off the wheels to have full access. Lift the front of your vehicle. Place the vehicle on the jack stands. We strongly suggest watching our video on how to jack your Nissan Altima safely before carrying out this step. Don't forget to put the wheels under the vehicle. Turn the brake disc inward to make this operation easier. Before removing the entire braking system, use a ratchet and a 12mm socket to undo the Banjo screw while the caliper is attached to its support. In order to change the brake caliper and caliper mount on your vehicle, we recommend watching our video on how to change the front brakes Nissan Altima. We show you how to remove the caliper, the pads, the caliper mount, and the discs if you decide to change them as we have done in the video. With a socket wrench and a 14mm socket, unscrew the lower slide pin. Sometimes you have to keep the lock nut from turning by holding it with your fingers or a 19mm wrench. Repeat this process with the upper slide pin. Finish unscrewing by hand. Tip: attach a piece of electrical cable or a hook to one of the strut spring coils. You can now remove the brake caliper and hook it to the previously installed hook. Remove the brake pads by prying them out with a flathead screwdriver. Using the screwdriver, remove the anti-rattle clips. Using a socket wrench and a 22mm socket, unscrew the two holding screws on the caliper mount. Depending on the state of the bolts on the caliper mount, it may be necessary to use a hammer to loosen them. Remove the caliper mount. Get a fluid collection container to collect the brake fluid that will flow out. Using a ratchet and a 12mm socket, unscrew the Banjo screw connecting the hose to the caliper. Then remove the Banjo screw from the hose. Here's a tip: you can limit brake fluid leakage during this operation by plugging both sides of the Banjo screw with Banjo shutter pliers. If you are not replacing the hose, carefully clean the surface where the hose and the caliper make contact, using brake cleaner and paper towels. You can order the brake caliper and caliper mount used in the video on CarParts.com via the link in the description. Get the new assembly and unscrew the slide pins. You can now remove the brake caliper and hook it to the previously installed hook. Clean the bearing surfaces of the caliper mount on the wheel knuckle with brake cleaner and paper towel. Hey, it's Alex from CarParts.com. If you enjoy this video and want to support us, like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, back to work. Reassemble the caliper mount by screwing first by hand. Then with a socket wrench and a 22mm socket to lock them in place. Finish tightening using a torque wrench. Get hold of the anti-rattle clips supplied in the kit. Place the new anti-rattle clips on the caliper mount. Grab the new pads and lightly coat the ends with copper grease to help them slide more easily. Insert the new pads into the caliper mount by sliding them in. Pay close attention to the position of the pad pressure springs and how they fit into the anti-rattle clips. If you want to know which parts and tools we use in this video, just check the description and you'll find everything you need. Get the new seals and the Banjo screw. Position the first seal on the caliper at the hole. Then, using a flathead screwdriver, remove the old copper gasket from the Banjo screw. Then put the second seal on the Banjo screw. Screw the Banjo screw that connects the brake hose to the caliper back in until it makes contact. You can now clean with brake cleaner to remove the brake fluid, which can be corrosive. Put the brake caliper back in place and screw in the slide pins by hand at first. Screw them in using a socket wrench and a 14mm socket. You can use a 19mm wrench to prevent the bolts from rotating. Finish tightening using a torque wrench. Finish tightening the Banjo screw with a torque wrench. Don't forget to remove the hook that you used to hold the caliper assembly together. When replacing a brake caliper, you need to bleed the brake fluid system to remove air from the system. To do this, we suggest watching our video, How to Bleed the Brake Fluid System Nissan Altima. Don't forget to clean the parts around the bleeder with brake cleaner to remove all traces of brake fluid. Then you will be able to put the wheels back on your vehicle. Put the car back on the ground and block the wheels properly. Don't forget to screw the brake fluid cap back on before starting the car. Attention! Before using your vehicle again, start your car and pump the brake pedal a few times to push the brake pads together again. Try to drive smoothly and avoid sudden braking for the first 30 miles or so, to avoid glazing the new pads. Operation complete. For great content, our best price, and fast shipping, download the CarParts.com app now.
Quality parts, priced right, CarParts.com.